today we are talking about the top 10 things I wish I knew before I got a cat. Now before we begin, of course I have to introduce you guys to Lily Bean. She is currently 9 months old. Okay, I'm gonna let you go play because I'm sure she doesn't want to sit here for the entirety of the video. My goal is to make this video as comprehensive as possible so that you have all the resources you need, lessons I wish I knew beforehand, and you'll know exactly how much money you need to budget in order to have a furry friend. I'll be sure to include timestamps down below in case you're interested in a specific portion of the video, and everything I mentioned in the video will also be linked in the description box below. But by the way, this video is completely unsponsored. Nobody is paying me to say anything. These are all my honest, actual reviews. Make sure you hit the thumbs up if you are a cat lover or about to be a cat lover because it helps me out tremendously with the YouTube algorithm. Before we begin, I think I do need to give you guys a little bit of backstory for context. I grew up being a certified dog lover. I've always loved dogs. Dogs have always loved me. Never in my life did I ever think that I would get a cat. I feel like growing up, I've never really been around cats, and the cats that I had been around are always hiding, and I've never really just had a good interaction with them. So Lily really came into our lives by chance, and honestly, it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. I'm so glad it happened the way that it did, because not only have I become a cat owner, cat lover, but I could definitely see a future where I am a cat lady with a bunch of different cats in my little cat. I will leave the link to the full video of how Lily came into our lives because honestly, it's a really fun story, but the TLDR version is that my parents found Lily as a stray cat in the park. They took her to the vet, she wasn't microchipped, and long story short, she became our cat. We first got her in December, so it's about 6 months since we've had her. Lily is now 9 months old, and we also have a dog at home named Lucky. He's a terrier mix, and he's about to turn 10. Cats are seriously so fun. They're so hilarious to be around. They're completely different than dogs, and we're so lucky to own one of each. Okay, now let's jump into the full 10 lessons. Lesson number 1, love takes time. You know how as soon as you meet a dog, they're so excited, they're loving on you. If you accidentally step on their paw, they never hold a grudge. Well, cats aren't exactly like that. Cats are a lot more like humans. The same way that you wouldn't make a human best friend in 30 seconds, it takes a long time to build trust with a cat. I read somewhere that it actually takes at least a year minimum before they fully warm up to you, if not longer. And honestly, with the milestones that Lily and I have been hitting, I fully believe that. We've been unlocking new achievements every month, and I made a little list just so I could share it with you guys. It took her 1 month to purr beside me with her belly fully open. For those who don't know, the abdomen, the belly portion, is obviously the most vulnerable part because that's where all your vital organs are. So if a cat is showing you their belly, it's a good sign. It took 3 months for her to start sleeping in our bed, 5 months for her to start purring on my chest every morning and every night. We have a little routine going now. And it took her 6 months to allow me to cuddle her during the daytime. She's truly a snuggle bug in the morning and at night, but during the day, she wants her own space. And I'm sure there's more to come. She's only 9 months old, so I'm curious to see what else we unlock together. But because this love is something that has to be built, I promise you, when it finally does happen, it'll feel so much more satisfying because it's something that you earned. Also, it's very clear with cats, they have a very distinct hierarchy of who they love the most. Number 2, train them early. I cannot emphasize this enough. The younger they are, the more you will be able to mold them, because I think when they're young, they just don't know quite how life works yet. Here's everything you absolutely should do as soon as possible once you get your cat. Number 1 is to touch their nails and their paws every day. Their nails get very long, and not only can they hurt you, your loved ones, but also your furniture, your home, the list goes on and on and on. It is very normal and it's okay to trim your cat's nails. They usually get one of these little clippers and then you just snip off the very tip part where it's very sharp. If you train them to do this while they are young, they will not hate it. As soon as Lily came into our home, everybody has just been touching her paws, touching her nails, so it's something that she's really used to. And when it comes to the nail trimmings, it's obviously not her favorite thing in the world, but she doesn't mind it. She'll definitely complain vocally and be like, "Meow, meow, 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 meow," but she doesn't bite us, she doesn't kick, she's not upset by it. She is, I think, minorly scared of the sound of the nail trimmer clipping her nails, and so one of us will usually sing to her so that it distracts her. We usually do this every week, and we're not trimming a ton of her nails off. It's really just the sharp portion, and I think just getting them on a routine schedule, they know it's coming and they won't be so scared of it. Number 2, similarly, touch their mouth and their teeth. Cats do have little fangs, so please be careful when you are doing this. If you're getting a kitten, their teeth are less strong, less big, and it's gonna hurt less. You're gonna have to brush your cat's teeth. In the future, you might have to give them medication through a syringe. There's just lots of things that happen, so the best thing you can do is kind of desensitize them to you touching this area of their mouth. Lily has never really minded since she was a kitten, and so it's something that we just do regularly to help her brush her teeth, etc. Number 3, get them used to a little bit of water. In general, cats are incredibly clean and they groom themselves, so they really don't require any showers or baths. However, when you first get a kitten, especially if it's a stray, you'll probably want to give them a flea bath or a bath of some sort, and hopefully never again in this lifetime will you have to do that again. But you know what? Life just happens. Sometimes they knock something over and they get something all over their paws. Sometimes they step on something sticky and they can't get it out themselves. In an ideal world, obviously you'd never have to bathe them, but again, life happens. Number 3, be prepared for their arrival. Last thing that you want to be doing is scrambling after you just got this cute little animal, because it's truly like having a newborn. I'm gonna list out for you some of the biggest essentials that you definitely need. Number 1 is a carrier. I definitely recommend a soft-sided carrier because it's lighter, it's more compact, you can usually put it away, and usually also cheaper. This is how you're gonna carry your cat home and also take your cat to and from places like the vet. Number 2, cat-friendly bowls. Unlike a dog, which can really basically use any sort of bowls, cats need special bowls that are very shallow. This is because they get something called whisker fatigue. Whisker fatigue is when their whiskers, which are very sensitive, if they're touching a lot of different surfaces, aka the food or water bowl, they can get very overstimulated, and this will discourage them from eating and drinking properly. Obviously, the easiest way is to buy cat-friendly bowls, but you can also just find very shallow bowls at home if that's something that you already have. Number 3 is a breakaway collar. As a dog owner myself, I had never heard of a breakaway collar until I got a cat, but essentially it is a type of collar that snaps off when there's enough tension applied. Cats are so curious that they often get themselves in situations and places that they just shouldn't be, and in an emergency, they get stuck, the collar can just break away and it will not choke them. I genuinely thought, like, there's no way this is a problem, why do I need a breakaway collar? But there have been several instances where Lily has just gotten caught on something, and we're so thankful that she's had a breakaway collar so that she didn't put herself in a dangerous situation. I also recommend getting an AirTag insert for them for their collar, because there will be times where you just cannot find your cat whatsoever, especially when you are warming up to them. The AirTag not only allows you to track them and just make sure that they are still in the house, because sometimes they're so quiet and so stealthy, you'll be like, did she pull out the door? Where did she go? And then in an emergency situation, you can also play a sound on the AirTag from your phone, which we have definitely had to do more than a couple of times. It can be really tempting to put a bell on your cat. It's something that we did with Lily because, you know, you can hear them as they're walking around, but it's actually something that is very bad for their hearing. So I highly recommend against doing that. Number 4 is litter and related accessories. So you need a litter box, a litter scooper, as well as litter. When cats poop, they will dig to find a good spot, and then they'll do their business and then dig to cover it up. This means that there is a lot of kind of splashing going on, and then litter also tracks, which means that when they come out, there's a little bit of litter that comes out with them. And then as they walk, that litter tracks with their little footsteps. Because of this, I highly recommend a litter that has some sort of lid instead of it being completely open. This helps to prevent the amount of litter that is tracking in your home, and I also think it just provides a little bit more of a safe space for them, because obviously using the restroom is something that is very vulnerable. Now, when it comes to the actual litter, it really depends on cat preference. The biggest things I would say is to 1, make sure it clumps properly, 2, make sure it doesn't smell too bad, and 3, make sure it's something that's healthy for your cat. So for example, it's really important to find a litter that is either dust-free or low dust. Dust can be really bad for cats and for humans for their respiratory system, and can exacerbate things like asthma. From our research, the best cat litter that we found is the world's best cat litter, but it's actually a corn litter. So there's no dust, and honestly, it smells insanely good. The only issue we had with that is that we also have a dog in the home, and because it smelled so dang good, Lucky would think that it was food, and obviously we cannot be having that in our home. So if you don't have a dog, I think that's a great option. We've since then switched her to a couple of different things: pine litter, walnut litter. There were a lot of things that she did not like. We finally settled on Purina Tidy Cat's Low Dust, which has worked well for her. It might take a little bit of trial and error. You definitely will know if your cat doesn't like the litter box, so just be patient with them. You will quickly realize that scooping litter is one of your least favorite things to do, and so from all of our cat owning friends, they are all like, getting an automatic litter was the saving grace of my life, and honestly, I completely agree. We scooped litter for maybe a month before we got the pet snowy cat litter, which we do love. Basically, once she goes in there and does her business, a certain number of minutes later, it'll automatically clean up the poop. All the poop gets collected in a bag. The bag you have to empty about once a week. It also auto deodorizes after she uses it, and there's also a tracking mat so there's not litter all over our house. I can make a video just on the litter portion of it, so we will save that for a different time. Number 5, toys. Toys are not optional. Your cat needs enrichment. They are incredibly smart. They are always looking for things to hunt, things to do. So at a minimum, you're gonna need a couple of different toys. Number one, I would say, is something on a stick that you can do to interactively play with them. Number two is a scratcher post of some sort so that they are not scratching your furniture instead. I think cats really like this idea of stretching and scratching. So if you can get a scratching post that is a little bit longer and taller, I think that will prevent your furniture from getting more hurt than it needs to be. You also need some sort of small little toys for them to play with. Lily's favorites are felt sushi. I think the texture of it feels really fun on her little claws. And then springs. I don't know what it is about these springs. These are her favorite toy of all time. Lily plays fetch with us with these springs, so highly recommend getting them for your cat. They're also very affordable. If you have a small space like we do, I highly recommend getting toys that combine multiple features into one. One of Lily's toys actually has a scratching post as well as a dangling ball for her to play, as well as rolling balls that she chases around all the time. Number four, say goodbye to your old life. When you get a cat, unfortunately, you will have to say goodbye to a handful of things in your life. You will learn that love for your furry friend will come far above a lot of the things that have probably been kind of important in your personal life. Personal space, your furniture, flowers. Let's get into them one by one. Flowers and plants. Most flowers and plants are toxic to your cat. So we honor the days of beautiful bouquets and flower arrangements. Anytime somebody sends us flowers, I'm pretty much giving them away to neighbors. The two kinds of flowers that are pretty common that you can have in your home are roses and sunflowers. So essentially those are the only two flowers you will ever see in our home. All of the plants in our home, fake. I'm just not gonna put Lily's life at risk over a beautiful bouquet or some plants, and so that is something that we have completely given up. Number two, personal space. It is impossible to prevent a cat from going to certain places or doing certain things. We did not ever think that we would let her on the bed because the dog, Lucky, never gets to be on the bed, and so we thought it's only fair for neither of them to be on the bed. Cats don't know what personal space is. They will follow you into the bathroom, follow you into the bedroom. Unless you physically bolt down and close a door, it's very difficult to tell them what to do and what not to do. They will get on tables, they will get on beds, furniture. So the best thing that you can do is just cat-proof your home. Lily plays with pens on tables, earrings. She's constantly, anything she can play with, she will play with. Your cat will also learn your routine and probably want to follow you around everywhere. Every morning I get up, I do the same routine. I go to the bathroom, and lo and behold, while I'm doing my morning routine, Lucky and Lily are both staring at me like this, just waiting for me to be done because they get breakfast right after that. So they're like, are you done yet? Of course, get ready to say goodbye to some of your furniture. If you have furniture at home that's got a nice texture to it, we have linen couches that are, honestly, I don't blame her because they do look really similar to her scratching posts, but it's got this nice texture for her to scratch. We have permanently draped bed sheets, blankets. You can't really see any bare part about a couch anymore, and I'm not gonna lie, it's not the most aesthetic thing, but it prevents Lily from You can try things like citrus sprays, redirecting. Some cats are just not interested, but I definitely don't think there's anything that's 100% effective. Maybe there is, let me know in the comments down below because I'd love to know. Number 5, nutrition is very vital. Cats are notorious for not drinking a lot of water. They get most of their water from their diet, so it's really important that you feed your cat wet food, if not a mix of wet and dry food. Cats generally live a lot longer than dogs. They live 10 to 20 years. And one of the biggest health issues that they end up having in the end is kidney disease. So preventing dehydration and making sure that your cat has lots of wet food in their life is gonna be one of the best ways that you can keep them nice and healthy. Now you might be wondering, how often should I be feeding my cat? If you have a kitten, you do have to feed them more often. Lily usually gets fed 3 times a day. She gets a mixture of dry and wet food. And then as she gets a little bit older, I think once she hits the 1-year mark, that's when we'll be able to transition her to the 2 meals a day. We currently have Lily on the Purina Pro Plan Vital Systems, which she absolutely loves and devours every single meal. She also does have an auto feeder that feeds her lunch if we are not home. I would not recommend the particular one that we have because it does not feed a specific amount, but rather it feeds a portion, which who knows what a portion means. We've measured the portions and they are not always the same either, so definitely get a different one. Now when it comes to water, cats can be very picky if they do not like the water and it's not clean. A lot of people recommend getting a cat fountain so that they have fresh water to drink at all times. Luckily, Lily hasn't really had an issue with this. I think it's because she watches her brother drink a lot of water, and so she kind of drinks a lot of water too for funsies. Number 6, cats are insanely smart. It's kind of like having a little toddler around because anything I do, she will watch and learn. So I really have to be very careful about what she's seeing. For example, if I take a bag of treats and I give her some and I place them on the counter, she will go to the counter and find them. We keep all of her spare kibble in the pantry, and anytime I leave the pantry door open, you best believe she's butting her head in there to take a look and see what's up. So definitely be careful with what they are saying. But also, because they are incredibly smart, you can 1,000,000,000% train your cat to do tricks. I don't know why people say this is not a thing. Lily is able to sit, stand, spin, paw. We're working on teaching her a bunch of new things. And honestly, if I'm honest, she was way easier to train than the dog. She's very smart. It's just whether or not she wants to listen or not. Lily is very food motivated, as am I, so that's really helpful when it comes to training her. We often use her meal times as an opportunity for her to learn a new trick. I will also say, I think cats are very emotional. They feel a lot of human emotions like embarrassment, maybe holding a grudge. Cats like to jump, and Lily will sometimes try out new jumps that she doesn't know if she's gonna make, and sometimes she misses them or they just don't look as graceful. And when we're around and we see her do that, I can definitely sense that she feels embarrassed, and she'll kind of play it off as like, oh no, that's not what I was trying to do. And when I go on vacation, I can definitely tell that when I come back, she's a little upset with me, but also she's really excited to see me. Number 7, cats are low maintenance, not no maintenance. I think there's this general misconception that you don't really have to do much for a cat and they can just do their own thing. And as somebody who owns a dog and a cat, I will definitely say if you were to compare the two of them, a cat is maybe 1/3 of the amount of work that you have to do for a dog. They're definitely far more independent, and if you have limited free time, I would definitely go the route of getting a cat. However, that does not mean that they don't need to be enriched and that you don't need to spend time with them. I would definitely make sure that you have at least 10 to 15 minutes a couple of times a day to play with them, hang out with them, love them. If you do not help them get their energy out in playful ways, they will instead take this energy to do other things that you probably will not like. Cats also do the zoomies similarly to dogs, but cats often do this kind of late at night, sometimes it's 3 a.m. in the morning, so be prepared for that. In addition to that, you obviously still have to scoop the litter, change and wash their bowls. It's definitely not no time commitment, so make sure you have enough time before you get a furry friend. Number 8, get your wallet ready. I'm gonna show you the entire breakdown of how much it costs for Lily's first year of life. I used average numbers from Amazon so that you can kind of get a good sense. And the first year of life is the most expensive because you have a lot of one-time costs, including a spay, a litter box, etc. In the first year, we will have spent nearly $2,200 on her life. But I feel like there are a couple caveats to this. Number 1, we live in Seattle, which is a major metropolitan city, so our costs for a lot of things like vets are a lot higher than it might be elsewhere. Number 2, the biggest cost was her spay, which was $500. However, a lot of different counties and shelters offer spay services for free, if not for highly discounted prices from $30 to $100. After the initial cost from the first year, you're looking at closer to around $650 to $1,500 for your cat. But I hope that looking at these big numbers doesn't discourage you from having a pet, because if there is a will, there is a way. You can make your own cat toys. There are so many different things you can do to keep the costs low. Number 9, say goodbye to your phone storage. Your entire camera roll will just be pictures of your cat. Do I have 3,457 photos of her just sleeping in the same exact position? Yes. Will I delete any of them? No. Go ahead and just upgrade your iPhone, your Google Photos, your iCloud, whatever it is that you use for storage. When I first got a kitten, everyone was like, take as many photos as you can because you will regret not taking photos. And I took so many photos and videos, and still I regret not taking more. In the short span of a couple of months, she has grown so much and more than doubled in size. And I look at her kitten photos and I was like, oh my God, Lily, you were so small. So yes, I'm giving you that same tip. Take more photos because you will regret not doing it. I'm constantly getting that notification on my phone that says my storage is full. So when you sign the adoption papers, sign up for the iCloud storage too. And number 10, welcome to the cat community. I did not realize how loyal, loving, and cool the cat community is. As soon as I got a cat, I feel like I expanded my social circles like crazy. IRL and on the internet, people who love cats, and I understand it because I'm now included in that community. Which, by the way, I would love it if you left a comment telling me what kind of cat you have or what kind of cat you plan to have, and then just a fun fact about your cat. I have never been more excited to read a comment section. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you found it helpful or entertaining, please give it a thumbs up. It helps me out tremendously. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. If you're here, I would love it if you followed me on Instagram Instagram, we post Lily updates nearly every single day, and I hope you choose to subscribe and stick around. I will see you guys next time. Bye!
I wanna be a weekend lover. Yeah, I'ma be the best damn lover you got. I wanna mess up your covers.